Hello soulmates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video I'm going to be teaching us how to draft and cut this stylish blouse that has a conical effect by the side. So if this is something like, please stay tuned to the end of the video as I show you the step-by-step process on how I go about drafting it. Thank you. So I have gone ahead to mark out the horizontal lines, just as you can see. So I've marked out the chest line, the shoulder line first, and the chest line. So the chest line is your bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5 plus 1 inch for shoulder slope. So I've also marked the bust point. The bust point is 10 inches, the under bust is 13 inches, and the front waist length is 16.5 inches. So from the front waist length, you are going to mark your hip measurement. So the hip measurement I have is 10 inches. From the waist to the hip is 10 inches. So I go up by 2 inches to get the upper hip level, while the actual hip line is the lower hip measurement, the lower hip line. Do you guys understand? So next up, you mark half of your shoulder measurement on the shoulder line and on the chest line. The shoulder measurement I'm working with is 15 inches. So you go ahead and roll a straight line across, just as you can see. So the standard basic neck width is 3 inches, then 1 inch for shoulder slope. So I'm going ahead to mark it, just as you can see. Connect the points together. So you go ahead and get the midpoint here, then you come in by half of an inch, as you can see. So you go ahead and connect all the points together, just as you can see. You connect the points this way, just as you can see. Next up, you are going to be placing your nipple to nipple measurement on the bust point line, on the waistline, and on the hip line. So then you roll your straight line. So that's your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. Do you understand? So then you go ahead and roll your straight line. So now I want to contour the under bust. So me, for the side front, I marked 1.25, while for the center front, I marked 0.75. So on the waistline, I marked half of an inch on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the points. So if you have a particular method you usually use to get your contouring, you can go ahead and do that. Do you guys understand? So you can go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect this part to the bust point, just as you can see. So you don't necessarily have to follow the contouring I do here. If you have a particular one that works for you perfectly, you can go ahead and use that method. You guys understand? Let's go ahead and place the quarter bust measurement on the chest line. So on your waist, you if you want to contour your waist, like you want to snatch your waist, you make sure that you remove it from your waist measurements. So your waist measurement minus the waist snatching divided by 4. Then you return the that intake that you took. Do you understand? So while on the hip line, you are going to just place quarter of your hip measurement divided by 4. Do you guys understand? So if you are snatching your waist, you know your waist measurement minus the waist snatching divided by 4. Then you add back the contouring. Do you guys understand? So I'm going to get the midpoint of the shoulder, then I'll connect it to the bust points, just as you can see. I'll connect it to the bust point this way. So now you want to determine how high your chest line will be, your over bust I mean. So in this case, I marked 2 inches above the chest line. So I rolled a straight line across, just as you can see. So on the center front, I marked 0.75, and on the side front, I marked half of an inch. So I went ahead and connect the points to the bust points, just as you can see. So I'm just going to measure which dart leg is more. So the dart leg I have at the side front is more than the center front. So I'm just going to replace whatever I have on the center front to the side front so that it's equal. So that is why I wrote a line, that straight line there. So it's a Queen Anne neckline. So I'm going to mark 4 inches for the neck width, for the shoulder I mean. So then I'm going to go ahead and connect it to that point. So it's a Queen Anne neckline. So I'll connect it to this point. I'm sorry I was blocking. So that's the point I connected it to. So if you feel that that place is too wide, you can reduce it. Or if you feel it's okay for you, you can leave it that way. Do you guys understand? So now I'm going to come down here by 1.5 inches. So now this part depends on how much of cleavage you want to show. You can use 2 inches, you can use 2.5. It totally depends on you. So then you connect it to that dart leg. You can see the dart leg I connected it to get that curve. Okay, so I'm going to rule two slanted lines around the shoulder. This is so that it doesn't give, so that it stays firmly on your shoulder. So then you mark 0.25 on both lines. So you are going to be closing it in form of that. So at the point of cutting, I'm going to be showing you what to do. Do you guys understand? So now the difference between the front length, waist length, and back waist length is 1 inch. So I'm going to mark 1 inch below the bust point, just as you can see. Then I'm going to connect it to the bust point, this point here, just as you can see. So the back waist length is 15.5, while the front waist length is 16.5. So now you want to determine the length of your blouse. So in total here, I'm stopping on the upper hip line, so that I have about 24.5 inches. So by the side, I marked about 5 inches below the waistline. So I'm going to rule a straight line by the side, just as you can see. So next up, it has a design at the front. So now we need to craft out that design. So I marked about ½ inch below the upper hip line. Then I'm going to take my ruler this way and try to connect it to this point. But I figured out I didn't like that point I connected it to. So I decided to change my mind and connect it to the dart leg. That's the bust span line. That bust span line that we marked. So I decided to connect it to that point, just as you can see. So I'm going to be using this ruler to copy from that point, from that line that I stopped earlier. Then just try to give it a bit of a curve. It has to be curvy at that part. So just give it a bit of slight curve. It's not like you're going to curve it up to the center front with this ruler, no. Just give a bit of slight curve. Then you can now then go ahead to rule a bit of straight line like this. Then you just blend it in. Do you understand? So you see the way I'm doing it, you just blend it in this way. So you blend it in. So let's go to this side. So it has this conical effect. So in this case, outside that part, I marked about 1 inch. It could be 1.5 inch or 2 inches, depends on what you want. So I'm trying to get the conical effect. But this conical effect that I used, I really did not like it, but I'll still change it. But let's just continue with this particular method that I'm using. But I'm still going to change it. If you stay tuned to the end of the video, I'm still going to change it, but don't worry. So I'm just trying to still figure it around my head, the exact side of the ruler that I should use. Do you guys understand? So yeah, we're almost done drafting the front. So now let's move on to the back pattern. So for the back pattern, I've gone ahead to mark the chest line, which is your bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5 plus 1 in shoulder slope. So the back waist length is 15.5, while the front is 16.5. Then from the waistline, you mark your hip measurement, your waist to your hip. So I have 10 inches. Then I went up by 2 inches to get the upper hip line. Then the actual one is the lower hip line. So next up, I'm going to be placing half of your shoulder measurement on the shoulder line and on the chest line. Then you go ahead to roll a straight line across. So the shoulder slope is 1 inch and the basic neck width is 3 inches, which is the standard. So you go ahead and connect the points together. So yeah, you get the midpoint. Then you come in by half of an inch. Then you connect all the points together. So you get your armhole, just as you can see. Get your armhole this way. Next up, you are going to place quarter of your bust measurement on the chest line. So quarter of your waist measurement, if you are snatching it, you snatch it. If you are not snatching, leave it like that. So on your hip line, quarter of the hip measurement. Do you understand? So you go ahead and connect the point. So whatever measurement you mark for the front, for the waistline, you mark the exact same thing for the back. Do you understand? So you connect all the points together, just as you can see. So next, below the waistline, I came down by 5 inches for the front. I'll do the same for the back. Then I'm just going to rule a straight line just to indicate. So at the center back, I marked 6 inches since I was using 5 inches for this side. So I used 6 inches. just because of the way this style is. So I just go ahead and connect the points this way, just as you can see. So next up, we'll try to do the conical effect. So at this, I used 1 inch for that part. Then I'm just going to go ahead and use my ruler. Like I said, we are still going to change this conical effect. It wasn't really given, so we'll still change it. But let's just continue with this one for now. We'll change it later on. By the time we are done, we'll change it. For the opening at the back, at this bottom part, I mark 0.75, while on the chest line, I mark 2 inches. So I'm going to rule a slanted line this way, then rule another line just to indicate that this is the eyelet stand. Do you guys understand? So then I came down by half of an inch or 0.75. Then you connect that center back point to the chest line this way, just as you can see. So the shoulder measurement I use for the front is 4. So I'm going to also mark 4 inches for the back. Then 1 inch for shoulder slope, or 1.5 1 inch for neck depth, or 1.5 inch, whichever way. So I just go ahead and connect the points. So now let's craft out the design for the back. So I think it has like a pin at that point. So you need to determine how wide your back should be opened. It totally depends on what you want. So that part can just depends on how wide you want it to be open. So after the chest line, I marked about 4 inches. Then I just connected it this way, just as you can see. So I'm going to extend the line a little bit. So that point I mark, I'm going to divide it into 2. So the point I'm going to be marking X, I'm going to cut it out so that it doesn't fold at the back. So I'm marking 2 lines and 0.25 on both sides. This is because so that this yoke doesn't gape too at the back, so that it relaxes well at your back. So that's the reason for that. So we'll call it tightening. So now, remember I said we are going to reshape this. So I extended it by 1.5 inch on both sides instead of 1 inch. You can use 1.5 inches or 2 inches. Do you understand? So I'm just going to try to erase the unwanted lines. So we're going to erase it. So then can see the part of the ruler that I'm using just to give it that conical effect. So that's the reason I'm using this part of my ruler instead of the other part I use, just to give it that shape. Do you understand? Just to give it that shape is the reason for this. So I'm just going to go ahead and label the patterns, just as you can see. So next up, we're going to go ahead and cut our pattern. You can see the way I'm cutting it. You don't need to rush the process. So by the time you are cutting this side front, you might want to leave a little bit of excess around this side because of the bust start. Because you are going to be opening up the bust start, then you are going to close it. Open it up, close it, use your paper tape to close it. Then you are going to reshape the line by this side. I'm sorry that place was not visible. Then you cut off the excess pattern paper. So for the yoke for the front, so you fold this like this in form of that, just as you can see me do. You fold it in form of that. Then you use your paper tape to hold it down. Then you reshape the lines, just as you can see. Then you cut off the excess. You can see what we have. So now I'll go ahead and cut off the back pattern. So you can see what I'm doing. So be careful with the process. You don't need to rush it. You can see what I'm doing. So now I'll go ahead and cut the yoke. So if you remember clearly, I said there's one part to cut off. So I just cut that part off that I marked X. I just cut it off. So now this yoke, we are going to close it in form of that. You close it up this way, just like we did for the front yoke. Then use your paper tape to hold it down. You can see what I did. Then you go ahead and reshape the lines so that it is equal. So when you reshape the line, you go ahead and cut off the excess pattern paper. So by the time we are done, this is what we have. This is what we have basically. There's something I used to do. You bring the side piece of the front and the back piece. You can see what I have. So you place the waistline of both sides, let it match each other. So this is for you to know which one of it is longer, so this way you tend to know if they are equal by the sides. You can see the back piece is longer than the front piece, so I'm just going to try to blend it in so I can cut the excess from the back. Do you understand? So by the time you are sewing, everything will make sense, it will all align. So that's one thing that you should always do. So this is where we are by the time we are done drafting. So thank you guys for watching. Please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, comment, like and share, and see you in my next video. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.